Outlooks with Dynamic CRM. My name is Julie Yak. Our outline for this module will discuss why would you want to do this, what does it do, helpful hints for better productivity, and then we'll do a bunch of demos and show the different moving parts of the CRM Outlook experience. So why? It offers a consistent experience. I've heard many stories of people who are using both Dynamic CRM and Outlook, and they don't know where one starts and one ends. And it's a really good experience for the user to just have it be easy to just work the way they expect it to work. Connecting CRM with Outlook is the only way to guarantee an offline experience so that you can take your laptop on the airplane, work with the CRM records, and then synchronize when you land. You do have data synchronization between CRM and Outlook that is built in and already mapped. You cannot reconfigure that, so be mindful of changes in CRM that might have implications in Outlook. And you are already in Outlook, so why not continue being in Outlook and simply plug in CRM to your Outlook experience? So what does it do? It gives you just about everything that you get in the CRM browser experience. You get the added offline capabilities, and this is the way to add a connection to other Office tools, such as using mail merge with your CRM records. In Outlook, CRM provides the familiar navigation, the grids, reading panes, and ribbon experience. The data is searchable, and then you can have tabs that save those searches and can be pinned for easy access to that organized data that you need. Pinning that view creates a cache that speeds up the system performance. The reading pane allows us to see some advanced information on the record without having to click through. It does offer the same subgrids and notes and some clickable links for us for both the form and the subgrid information. In addition, you can track these emails from Outlook as activities in CRM, so that CRM data connection is there. Tracked emails have a slightly different icon so that users can quickly see at a glance which emails are part of tracked conversations. So what else? Offline capability is determined by the records that are chosen to sync, and those are buckets of records: contacts, accounts, entities. It's recommended that you have the CRM synchronization happen in the background so you're able to quickly go offline so you don't have to wait for it to go through those changes. It is an expected annoyance that the first time you synchronize it might take a little while depending on the quantity of records that you are synchronizing. But once that initial synchronization is done, it's pretty quick. It just takes the difference from the changes in the records, not the whole records again. Everyone always asks, well, what happens if two users are offline and make the same changes? So if two users happen to both be working offline and happen to both be viewing and changing the same record, what happens? CRM only synchronizes the net differences, not the whole record. So if users are looking at the same record at the same time and making changes to different fields, not a problem. All those changes will reconcile just fine. The problem comes into play if they're both working on the same field. So for example, you're working on an address for an account and you change the city and the other user changes the city, then you will have a synchronization problem, and what happens is the last one in wins based on the timestamp. So what else? You have some great automation tools available. You can simply click a couple of buttons on the ribbon and change that email to an opportunity or to a case or to a lead. And that brings all that information over to CRM for you, so we can then go into the standard CRM process that you have in place for managing those opportunities or leads to get more business, or taking care of that customer service case to take care of that customer that might need some troubleshooting, or perhaps have a product return, or any other reason a customer might submit a support ticket. Viewing the data in Outlook, you have a few different options. You can choose different sorting and grouping and add and remove columns. And this is handled at the user level in Outlook. So a user doesn't necessarily have to have CRM admin privileges to tweak their experience in Outlook. So these options allow users to have CRM data in Outlook presented in the most valuable way for them. You have more ways to view and tweak these views from the Outlook client than you do have in the browser client. You can pin the multiple views for quick access. You can do conditional formatting to quickly see differences in the data. So for example, you can set a rule so that all contacts in Colorado would show in red text in that grid view. So you could quickly see how many contacts you have in Colorado without necessarily having to make a separate view for Colorado. So how does it work? You have these options available to set different filters, to choose the different entities that you want to have that synchronize, and then it only synchronizes the choices that you've made. It doesn't synchronize everything. It's a much more efficient way of doing things than synchronizing everything. Some helpful hints before we jump into a demonstration. It's not recommended that you auto-create contacts when you're offered that option. You can have some duplicate issues. If your organization feels that this is something that's important to do, then do your homework on data duplication rules in CRM and make sure that you take the time to tweak those so that your users have the experience that they expect. Emails that send from CRM via the Outlook client only go when Outlook is running. So if you're having notification emails sent to other users in your CRM, or perhaps an acknowledgement to a customer, then you must currently be logged into CRM via Outlook at the time you expect the email to go. It will sit there in a queue and wait for you to reconnect and synchronize, but that notification email won't send without that connection. The place to decide for a user where you want them to, which tools you want them to use for email is on their user record. You have an email router or an Outlook option, and you have a choice for inbound or outbound. You can make a different choice for either one or have the same choice. And don't use this or the email router for mass emails. You'll get blacklisted. And I'm sure many of us that are listening have been blacklisted, myself included, and it's a painful process to have removed. And so it's definitely recommended to use a third-party tool instead if you have those mass emails. There are many of marketing products available that connect directly into Dynamics CRM it's really easy to make sure that you get that taken care of and avoid being blacklisted. So our demo will show how to connect to CRM. We'll talk about the user record setting. We'll show some email system settings, and we'll look around at the different components and see some of the advantages to using Dynamics CRM through Outlook. Here we are in CRM for Outlook. The only thing I did to get here would be set up the connection. So when you're in the browser client with Dynamics CRM, you do have a button, or you can do a search online to look for the current browser client and install it, and it brings you through a very wizard-like experience that's pretty easy to understand and easy to follow to make that connection between CRM and Outlook. I will forewarn you that there is some details that are tedious when it comes time to making the connection, so make sure you have all your Office 365 credentials in order with the user accounts that you're trying to connect up, and that it may take a little bit of time. Sometimes when we're teaching this type of thing in an in-person event, we have the users push go on starting the connection so that it can churn and such during the lecture. So it might be a push go, get a cup of coffee and come back type of setup experience for you. But now let's just jump in. So here we are in Outlook. We can see that this is pretty bare bones. I did just set this up for demonstration purposes. But let's have a quick look around. This does look just like ordinary Outlook. It is just Outlook 2010. You can see here underneath our standard inbox items. If we were to scroll down, we go and see all of our CRM choices right here in this frame. We can click in and see any of these views that we're used to seeing, and we've got our standard drop down for choosing what we'd like to see, and that's an easy place for users to get to their CRM straight from Outlook without having to go really anywhere. But if we'd like to get some of the additional features, then let's go into CRM here that we have a higher level menu. We have our standard workplace, we have our customers, we have all of these areas that we would be expecting to see right here. So what do you get by coming here instead of being in the browser client? Well, you already exist in Outlook, so we get to stay there. We don't have to move around and open another program. We have the ability to have more views and see them more rapidly. We could build any of these different pen views that we'd like. And we still have our contextual CRM ribbon up here, as well as all these different choices of activities that we can do with the specific entity type that we're using right now. Let's jump in and have a look at some conditional formatting. So we're going to change our view settings. We have some choices here. We can change our columns, we can add some grouping, sorting, filtering, miscellaneous things that would apply only to this user in this context. And let's do some conditional formatting to show how maybe we might see some different views more quickly. So perhaps if there was special reason to see the data more quickly, then we'd know that. So let's go ahead and add a new one. And we're going to call it test. And then what we'll do is we'll change the font in the grid view for any record that contains the word test in their full name field. Let's change it to red. So what we've done is we've changed the font so it's completely different than anything else so that we'd be able to see it more easily. And now let's add our condition. Let's go to advanced so we can see that we've got all these different fields available to us. So these are all the fields that are on the record type that we're looking at. So let's go to full name. Full name contains the value test. So that way if we have test in first or last name, that we know it. Maybe that's because we're in a development environment and we're trying to find our test cases. So we'll say okay. Yes, we'd like to add that criteria. We'll say okay again. So we don't have a rule for another condition format that we've had, but that's okay, we're not using that here. So let's select okay. So now let's scroll down and look at our different contexts and see that we have the conditional formatting. So you'll see here we've got this bright red text so that we can quickly identify that we've got the condition met in these specific records so that we can see them at a glance. Let's have a quick look at our accounts and the reading pane. So here's the reading pane. You can see a quick view, an uneditable, read-only, non-action oriented quick view of the records that we have here. Scroll down and we see we've got the standard fields that we would normally have on the form, just presented in a read-only fashion. If you'd like to action on that record, then you'd have to open it like you would in the browser client and have a look at that and perform your actions. You'll notice here on the right hand side that we've got the record-to-record navigation is disabled in the Outlook client. That is one of the limitations that we have on using CRM for Outlook, is that record-to-record navigation will not work here. So here we are with an email that came in strictly to test the tracking functionality here. Let's have a quick look at the CRM ribbon. This is not something we're going to use in this instance, but we can see that we have a full-fledged CRM actionable ribbon here. And then here we have an area of the Outlook home ribbon that has information on it for CRM. So let's just do a set regarding on this email that came in, and let's find the contact record for the sender. So here we go. We're going to set a regarding here to Julie Yak's record. We've got an error message, but let's have a look to see. Yes, we did have the regarding that happens, so that's good to go. So we have quick wrap up here. Outlook is where people already exist, so why make them leave? It gives us offline synchronization. It's where users are already comfortable. You have the primary functionality that you have with the browser client. You have all of the access to the data. You have all of the visualizations, charts, dashboards, reports, all of those available through Outlook. Outlook has recently promoted CRM to a fully integrated product where It has a rich experience with integrated user ribbons, and in addition, we have further use of CRM data such as mail merge capabilities that require connection via Outlook. So again, using Outlook with Dynamics CRM is a great combination.